Welcome everybody back to another video. Here today we're going to go over a team build guide slash tips and tricks for the new Super Saiyan Goku. Hope you guys enjoy. Of course, hit that subscribe if you're new for more content. Let me know in the comment section down below what teams you guys are using for this unit. Are you using them on Super Saiyan? Are you using Planet Namek, for example? Are you using them on like one of his other categories like transformations? Or are you using Goku's family? Let me know down below where you find the most success with this unit and where you enjoy him the most. If you own him, if not, where would you run him if you don't own him? So that being said, we're going to go over a very brief breakdown for this man. We'll also talk about some of the better options for him on his own teams, and then also other teams that he's applicable to, like Goku's family, because Goku's family actually has a lot of very good units that synergize with this card. So to begin, again, brief breakdown. He starts off in this form. Honestly, you might spend a decent amount of time in this form because depending on what you have and how many dupes you have and what you have, his transformation condition could be a little bit hard for you to trigger, right? When HP is 70% or below, starting from the third turn from the start of the battle. So you already have to wait a few turns, which isn't too bad, but you have to also be below 70%. So that's, again, depending on what you have, it might be a little difficult. So the leader skill is 3-key, 130% to HP with 170 to attack and defense. The super attack does immense damage and raises allies' attack by 30% for one turn. Passive skill is plus 77% at the start of the turn to attack and defense, plus an additional 15% attack and defense with each attack received up to a maximum of 59%. And then he transforms when the conditions are met. One thing you need to know is that the passives that he has, they get calculated differently. Basically, anytime there's a semicolon in there, they are going to get calculated separately. So it's a grand total of 181% after 4 attacks received. That is insanely good. And key multiplier 150. This is a good card, man. Like, even if he doesn't transform, this is a really good card. You look at the link set: Z Fighters, All in the Family, Saiyan Warrior Race, Saiyan Lineage, Shocking Speed, Prepare for Battle, and Fierce Battle, which is a very good link set for more of the Goku family type units. Just going to throw this out there now. The Goku family leader primarily does not have access to Shocking Speed. I believe he loses it after the TUR form, but regardless, does not have Shocking Speed, which what that means is it kind of kills off units that really need that. A good example that comes to mind is STR Ultimate Gohan. STR Ultimate Gohan actually shares a ton of links with this new Goku, and they synergize very well. They both also have the same mechanic of guarding against all attacks, and since that's the case, Gohan also buffs allies' defense by 50%. That includes the Goku, of course, if they're ran together, even on rotation together, while Gohan triggers, again, a number of good links, like Z Fighters, which is a 15% link, Fierce Battle, which is another 15% link. He has 2-key. I believe Goku has 15% defense with All in the Family. He does not. He trades it in for Super Saiyan. Other than that, though, good synergy, right? So when it comes down to this, obviously Int is a better unit, but he's not as good as STR in terms of some of the viability defensively. So this is one of the main units you would want to try to optimize, especially if you're up against a longer event. Like, for example, the Goku, Legendary Goku event, for example. This guy will be really good on that team with this guy on rotation. So keep that in mind. But anyways, move on from there. His entire mechanic changes now. So the super attack now raises defense indefinitely. 30% defense raise for 99 turns. Again, versus longer content, this is very good. He'll have hundreds of thousands of defense, and that just makes him one of the better tanks overall in the game, actually. But that's not all. His passive still gives him 80% at the start of the turn, and he gets an additional 50% attack after receiving an attack a single time. He continually gets 59%. He keeps it. He doesn't go away. Also, medium chance to guard against all attacks. It's the same mechanic this Gohan has. They both, I believe, have 25% chances to do it. What this is when they're versus an event, regardless of what it is, right? You know how the game has elements. So STR units are strong against physical. Physical is weak to STR. So if they go up against a physical event, they'll always guard. That's just every STR unit in the game, basically. So that's the guard mechanic in a nutshell. But the way that these units work is they have the ability to guard against other elements. Like, for example, AGL. They could take reduced damage versus AGL units as if they had type advantage. So that's how this works. This guy has a medium chance to do it. And also, whenever he does actually guard against an attack, whether it's because he automatically had type advantage versus a physical event, or because his passive activated, he has a high chance to perform a critical hit for 3 turns. And also, he guards against every other attack for 3 turns. So, yeah. Not only does he stack defense, he can guard against stuff. And if he guards, he's able to guard against everything else for 3 turns and has a high chance of doing a crit for 3 turns. That's insane viability offensively and defensively. He does everything you would need, right? And again, still has all those good links. So, other than that, he does have the active skill, which triggers after 5 turns, below 50%. I don't know if you'll actually really get this in most cases. Again, it just depends what you have and how you have it, right? How many dupes, whatever. But Below 50%, he does pick up a passive, and this is just a regular rage mode, just like Tech Beers, for example, just a regular rage mode. But I will say, versus harder content or whatever, since it's an active skill and not forced on you, it does allow for added viability in, oh, okay, well, I can choose when I want to get invincibility, right? That's awesome. Just being able to dictate when you can just go completely invincible for a turn, which is awesome, awesome, awesome. He also has a passive, which I'm pretty sure he's the first, I would say, rage mode or ape type transformation that has a passive. If not, he's probably one of like 3. So that's really cool too. Changes orbs to rainbow, which allows for obviously more consistent super attacks. And not only that, he has 2 super attacks, and he can super from 8 ki. So there you go. All right, so let's go ahead and begin. So when it comes down to it, Planet Namek Saga has some solid options, but it's not really going to offer you much. What I will say is that if you are specifically looking into Planet Namek Saga, depending on how you want to run the team, if you have a lot of like Frieza-based units, the good thing about Goku is that he has shocking speed all the way through, which is the main link that a lot of Frieza units have for the most part. This guy here does not have that specifically, but he's a very good unit on the team. But a lot of the other Frieza-type cards that you want to run anyway, well, specifically Final Form, I should say. I should stop saying a lot. But Final Form Frieza cards have that, and it allows for viability. You also do have Kaioken Goku, who again has shocking speed. So you can build a team centered around something like that. And then, of course, you can still funnel in, again, more Frieza-type stuff like this guy, like full power Frieza, just because Frieza cards specifically do share those Frieza clan links, and it works just fine. You also take a look at the EZA free-to-play cards, the other ones. We have Piccolo here, who has shocking speed yet again, and also has self-sufficiency, very good defensive unit, heal-type unit, just very good overall. So one you would want to consider. I think a lot of people have forgotten this card is a thing, right? But a very good card still. And then Han, excuse me, I was going to say 10, has some solid links with the leader, such as Z-Fighters, but also does have that self-sufficiency built in as well. So mainly what you're looking for if you're using units from this category is units that either have shocking speed and or self-sufficiency. And of course, you can use some units that kind of tie stuff together, like the LR Ginyu Force if you're really looking for options. But I would say your best options, far and away, are in the Super Saiyan portion. The Super Saiyan portion includes some pretty nut stuff, man. You got these 2 LR fusions. Yeah, you know. But I will say the one thing about the LR fusions is, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, is their condition isn't really conducive to the Gokus for the active skill. If you really want the active skill, they might not be the best choice, just because you might get their fusion before you get the active skill, and they'll max heal you, whatever the case is. It just depends on rotations, yada yada. But just keep that in mind. You do have LR Trunks. You come down, you have Super Saiyan Gogeta. You have Super Vegito, who's still solid. Gonna get an EZA one of these days. You have the newish transforming Goku. You have the brand new Tech Trunks. You see what I'm saying? Like Super Saiyan. I don't really think I need to do this portion of it because there's EZA Gogeta, DBS Broly. There's so many good options in here. Transforming Vegeta, physical Vegito, because screw AGL. So what I will say though is, when it comes down to it, in this type of setup, I would say it just depends what kind of content you're up against. If you're up against the Legendary Goku event, for example, you're obviously going to put this Trunks. He's one of the, best 5 or 6 units you can even take to that event in general. Transforming unit, very good overall. You also will take the LR fusions, I would say, just for that healing, because screw the active skill in most cases, unless you really want it. You still take these types of units overall. You obviously take Gogeta, and then that's basically your team. You have a slot for whoever else you want there. Transforming Vegeta does well. Broly, it just kind of depends what you have and how many dupes again. Also, the EZA Trunks here, very good card. You would want to run in that scenario too. But if we go ahead and we take a look at some of the other teams that are up, well, before we look at some other teams, let me go ahead and close out of some of this stuff. So just for a general aside, right? When it comes down to more traditional content, what I would say is, when it comes to the Goku, just try to focus on things that don't get in his way. For one, it allows him to get low on HP, allows him to do what he wants to do, and also allows for quick teams. So you have this guy here transform starting from the 5th turn. That team, basically, he's a finisher. He comes in and he finishes. So you run those 2 for sure. And then if you have Tech Trunks, again, going to come through. He stacks a little bit slow, but he's quick enough. So 3rd turn, you're going to get this form, and this form's good enough to finish any event in the game, basically, including the Legendary Goku event. So just focus on units that, again, don't get in his way too much and allow for the versatility there. And if you're looking for quicker clears, the harder hitter, the harder the hitter, the quicker the clear, right? So we're going to close out of these. So let's talk about, again, some more team options. Goku's family is my favorite team for this card personally because of stuff like that. Like I said, the fact that he syncs pretty well with any Ultimate Gohan, but I really do love the synergy between him and STR Gohan. So we're just going to throw him out there, kind of point him out, right? Very good card overall, even if he's off rotation, whatever the case is. And we also will take a look at another good card that synergizes with this card, and that's Ss3 Bardock. Now, Ss3 Bardock has a specific requirement. He needs to be below 70% HP. Well, guess what? Goku himself wants to be below 70% at all times, basically. Where's he at? He wants to be below 70% literally at all times, right? So below 70%, he gets the transformation. He'll be in this state. He'll have all those links that are pretty generic, like Prepare for Battle, Golden Warrior, Super Saiyan, Fierce Battle. Oh, wait. Bardock, when he's below 40, is also 70, excuse me, is also a 40% attack support. Yeah. Yeah, that's really good synergy. Again, you have good defense support, attack support for that Goku specifically, or the Goku leader, and or the LR Go Bros if you want to run that leader, of course, right? So there's just, again, a lot of, and take a shot every time I say it, viability between different units like that link up pretty well and synergize. So to round it out with this type of setup, I would say just you know, B-Pan's kind of a weird spot. She's always a unit you just want to throw in just because she's so good. But she gets in his way. Remember I said you want to use units that don't really get in his way too much. So actually, I'll take her off. And you can't use your free quote-unquote Goku there because he does have the same name on the outright. So when it comes down to that, and we move on past that, we're going to look at some other options. You can choose to have a unit like Full Power SS4 Goku on the opposing rotation with the LR SS4, and you'd be fine. It just depends on what rotations you want to set up, but I do think this card is good enough to be on this team for sure, especially because of the offense and defense that he does have. And then that's basically it, ultimately. You have a lot of good support units, too, like this Gohan you can run if you want to run another support type unit. Also has, again, shocking speed, which is good because it's another key battery-based unit. And then other than that, you have access to Golden Warrior, so you can still use units that require Golden Warrior in one way, shape, or form. So that's it, basically, guys. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. Again, just a lot of different team options that work well with this card. And as we get into the game, we get a little further in the game's lifespan, some more support units like this card will obviously awaken, and he'll be really good alongside that Goku, for example. So anyways, have an awesome day, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll catch all of you guys in the next one.